Ladies and gentlemen, hello, my name is Parker, hope everyone is doing well here today. What we're going to be going over is all of my current settings for Call of Duty Mobile from a Battle Royale perspective. I know with the brand new Season 6 update here, COD Mobile went in, added in so many significant changes to this game, and I know that all y'all in the comment section down below are just like, Parker, what is your FOV settings? What's your sensitivity setting on this? Do you have this enabled? Do you have that disabled? We're going to be going over everything, such as like my HUD layout, my sensitivity settings, all my basic settings for the BR, so hopefully y'all will go and enjoy that. If you guys do, be sure to go and give the video a like, as well as I will also be including my own input, like with certain things that I have enabled, those would be things that I might not go and recommend to you guys, so I'm gonna let y'all know all that type of stuff once we get there. But I guess without further ado, might as well go and jump right into it, kind of starting off with our HUD here. So we're going to begin here with something that I completely forgot about in my last settings video, which is just by going and clicking that little gear thing. I have like the majority of my weapons here on hipfire, the assault, SMG, shotgun, LMG, just that kind of makes sense for me and how I'm going and playing with my current HUD, but I have sniper rifles, pistols, as well as marksman rifles, all on ADS. Like, if you just go and think about it, you don't really gotta go and hip fire with the sniper rifle unless you're trying to go and do some type of like a phase trick shot montage, maybe getting in those 360 no scopes. Same kind of goes in with the pistol there, just only ADSing for me, as well as just the marksman rifle is kind of very similar to like a sniper in a way. So this is all my settings for that type of stuff. But now, custom layout. This is my current HUD that I go and have. I didn't really do that much tweaking from the previous settings video that I went and did. Maybe I might have made the map a little bit bigger. Like, having a bigger map is always something that I would go and recommend, because just the mini map itself, you can gain so much information on being able to go and exactly target where certain enemies may be at. So that is a really big plus in my opinion. But yeah, not really anything too significant here. Once again, one of the bigger changes was just going and moving my seat button closer to the middle of the screen here, and this is just due to the fact that I love going and hopping into enemy cars, and it's just so much more convenient for me to go and have it in the middle of the screen rather than just like in the top left that I believe I had it last time. So it just makes it easier for me to go and hop in enemy vehicles. That might not be a thing that you guys go and do. I personally go and do that, so that can really go and be whatever. But let's go and move on to the basic settings here. Alright, basic BR mode, bada bing, bada bang. Like I said, so many brand new stuff here, and auto loot still enabled here, even though like the whole looting process seems to be a little bit more delayed now. Like, that is one thing that I'm not a really big fan of for this season in specific, is that it feels like a lot of inputs to go and pick items up isn't as fast as it was in previous seasons. Like, I've been playing this game ever since the release, and I promise you guys, like, you can even go and watch my earlier BR videos that I went and made. You used to go and pick up items initially upon going and dropping into a location so incredibly fast, especially if you went and dropped on something like the floating platform. Just like with a snap, you can go and pretty much like go and pick up everything in the vicinity for you. But now it seems like COD Mobile went and added in a little bit of like a weird delay thing going on, which I'm not a big fan of. But auto loot, I go and have that enabled, even though I feel like it only helps things out a little bit right there. But auto open doors enabled, fixed R fire button, aim assist I go and have enabled here. Now if we go on to the fast scope switch, this is something that I haven't yet went and experimented with. I know that Yanrick actually went and made a video about this recently, and that maybe kind of makes me, maybe, and I'm saying maybe a lot here, maybe I'm going to go and try this out for a video, because I'm not really that big of a fan of different scopes. But what the fast scope switch will go and do will actually give you that option to go and cycle between either like a classic red dot or a 4x scope and just like a press of a button, rather than having to go in your inventory and then going and swapping your scope to like something like a 4x. So maybe for a future video I could go and try that out, and maybe Yanrick might be indeed right with that there. The correct camera from jump window, I would highly recommend for you guys to go and have that disabled. If I'm not mistaken, that was indeed the thing that was making it so that your character perspective would go and shift. Which I personally wasn't a big fan of. Slide hint, that really doesn't do anything in specific there. It's only just a visual thing. It doesn't really go and have any impact on the gameplay itself. Quick run from prone, thing that I've recommended ever since my very first settings video. What else do we have here? Quick weapon switch, perspective teammate. That's something that kind of allows you to go and see your teammate if they're going and hiding, or not really hiding, but just like going through buildings, traversing through buildings. You can kind of go and understand where your teammate might be looking. That could also go and help during mid gunfights. Just kind of things that I would go and recommend just going and having enabled. Auto expand wingsuit. I know that some people like this, some people don't. In my opinion, because what does the description of that even go and say? The wingsuit will automatically expand when players reach a certain height, and then if you go and have that off, I believe that you can go and, yeah, they even show it in this video. You can go and auto-activate it yourself. I'm personally not a big fan of that because I kind of trust COD Mobile the majority of times when it does go and activate the wingsuit, so it's almost just like a peace of mind type of thing. Like I said, people are kind of 50-50, that's just personal preference, but for my personal preference, I would just go and have the auto expand wingsuit enabled. Parachute style, I have the slide to look around. Now this thing is actually really useful, especially for this season, because the only time that you could go and look around when you were going in parachuting was just if you also had that free look button enabled, just so that you could go and look around at the same time. But by going and having this setting enabled here for the parachute style, you're pretty much able to go and do that with a lot more ease. You don't have to click the free look just exactly where it's at. This is just all my ADS stuff. A lot of this from this point moving forward are going to be very, very similar to my last settings video here. Besides from the camera FOV range from a first person perspective, I have that at 65. Kind of like it being at 65. Anything a lot farther back, I feel like I'm going to have a lot harder time being able to go and lock on certain enemies. Even though something like going all the way up to 90 might be looking nice, I think just going and bringing that all the way down to 65 is just kind of that sweet spot in being able to go and still pinpoint exactly where the enemies are without being able to go and miss a lot of your shots. And kind of same logic goes there also into the third person FOV. If you go and crank that bad boy all the way up to 80 FOV, it might be a little bit harder to go and hip fire. I know that that was one of the issues that I was going and having, but by bumping it all the way down to 70, I wasn't running into that many like hip firing issues, as well as I was able to go and see a wider view of enemies on the map itself. So that's something that I would go and recommend, would be to go and have that at 70. That's all just kind of personal preference stuff like that once again, but that is just my kind of recommendation. Vest visibility, very important to go and have that on others, just so that you're able to go and know whether or not certain enemy players have like a level 3 vest on, or if they have no vest. If you did have it on like all invisible, dude, I wish you the greatest amount of luck, but others visible, very important. I actually went and changed this a couple days ago. I used to have it on show sound direction, but just the more and more that I was going and playing around with this here, the show sound location just seemed a lot more efficient in being able to go and pinpoint exactly where people are going to go and be. But still, from the video that I made a couple days ago, the show sound reminder in the main HUD, I do have that enabled. I still strongly believe that that's one thing that has really made me a little bit of a better player so far this season, has been having the show sound reminder on. Just not being able to go and always rely on your minimap where certain shots might be going on from, and it almost pretty much gives you a head-on display on what exactly might be happening in front of you here. Definitely something that I personally recommend. Now we go into the audio and graphics. This is where I would kind of go and say, you know, going lower in the graphic department is probably the best way to go. only reason why I go and have this on very high is just from a YouTube perspective. I know that a lot of you guys would kind of be making fun of my quality if I was always going and playing on low, even though I might be able to go and perform a little bit better on low. It's just, I personally recommend very high. I like going and seeing the game when it looks graphically good, so that's something that I would go and recommend. Frame rate all the way up at max here. Going and playing on something like low, medium. I know that a lot of you guys, even watching this video, might not be able to go and have your frame rate all the way up to max, but just making sure that's as high as it could possibly be is something that I would go and recommend to you guys here. But yeah, not really that much here. It also goes into like some zombie stuff. All these settings that I have enabled here don't really go and do that much performance wise. Audio, these are all my current audio settings. The UI volume was really interesting because this season, and my guess is that they're going to go and change this here, but this season they went and made it so that every single time you went and either jumped or slide or crouched, that there would be like this sound notification just letting you know that you went and did that. And it's kind of annoying when you go and do a lot of those buttons very often, like myself. So rather than kind of annoying everyone, especially from like my live stream here, I just decided to go and turn that off. I know that the effects thing is brand new into this game. Haven't really touched many of these settings. Maybe I should, just to, I don't know, be a little bit more special here. But other than that, BR settings, everything is pretty straightforward here. Didn't really go and do that much tweaking here. But vehicle settings. So for the vehicle settings, I did go and almost take a little bit more of like a boomer approach, going and making sure that these buttons for me are as big as they can possibly be, because I cannot tell you guys for how many seasons now I've been like accidentally misclicking, or like I wanted to go left, but like the buttons were so tiny that I just didn't even have my thumb nowhere close to that button. So I made sure to go and have my acceleration, deceleration, or reverse, left and right as big as I possibly can, so I don't go and mess up in going and using those buttons there. Y'all could go and do the same if you're like myself, but it is what it is. Confirm. Tank control, kind of same like it was previous here. I would go and recommend going and enabling semi-follow, because just being able to go and have it latch back on your vehicle and not just almost like follow in a way in which it's just like takes this cooldown time until it then reaches back up again. Semi-follow just kind of goes and works with me. Vehicle HP, very, very important. Manual obstacle avoidance, I go and have that enabled rather than the automatic obstacle, because I feel like sometimes that can go and mess with you there a little bit. Vehicle music, I have that off due to copyright reasons. And then tank guideline, yeah, I don't really go and have that enabled at all. But that's pretty much all my settings here. Hopefully you guys went and enjoyed it. My name is Parker. Hopefully y'all will have an awesome rest of your day here today. And I guess I'll talk to you guys in the next video.